Stop people pleasing because it gets you used, taken advantage of, taken for granted. People don't respect you. They just walk all over you like a doormat. They're going to use you as much as you allow them. And this can also lead you to feeling resentment towards those people. And I know this because I was one of those people. I used to be a people pleaser, and I noticed that I started feeling resentment towards all these people that I was pleasing. So in this video, I'm going to talk about why we people please, and I'm going to share my own personal story of how I became a people pleaser. And then I'm going to also share some things that you can do to start shedding the people pleasing mentality. So firstly, what is people pleasing? People pleasing is where we are pleasing everyone around us. And in doing that, we may abandon ourselves to please these people. And there is an underlying reason or multiple reasons why we're doing it. And people pleasing is usually formed in childhood. So something happens in childhood that creates this people pleasing mentality. So I'm going to share some reasons, and all these reasons that I'm going to share with you, every single one of them was me. So you may find the same thing. You may think, oh, that's me, that's me, that's me as well. Or maybe only a couple of the list resonate with you, and that's cool too, because we're all different, right? So the first one is fear of rejection or a fear of abandonment. And again, something could have happened in childhood that caused this fear within you. And then you're out people pleasing, not even realizing that you have this fear and that it's driving this people pleasing behavior. The second reason is low self-esteem. And again, can stem from childhood, just based on how you're treated by the people around you, the people that love you, your family, friends, or even like teachers at school, or even in religion if you're religious. Another reason could be you don't like tension or conflict. So in order to avoid the tension or conflict, you're pleasing people. Another one could be just past experiences. So you may have grown up in a home where you had to act a certain way or be a certain way in order to get love, validation, and approval from your parents. So people pleasing can stem from parent pleasing. It can start as parent pleasing as a child, and then as you grow up and you go out into the world, it turns into people pleasing behavior. Another reason is you do it to seek love, validation, and approval from others. And the last reason is just to feel safe. It can be a safety mechanism, like a survival instinct. So for me, growing up as a kid, I can look back because I realized all of that was me. Like that whole list was me. And I can look back to my childhood because I had a lot of, negative experiences, childhood wounds and traumas throughout childhood, and I can see how it shaped me into being this people pleaser. So I won't go into all my childhood details because it can be a bit of a long story, so I'll just kind of summarize certain points. So firstly, I was born into a broken home. My parents split up when my mum was pregnant with me, and my dad wasn't around. Like he moved to another country from a young age, like maybe 2 or 3. He lived in another country. So he wasn't around as a father. And then I grew up with my mum. I had my older brother. And so my older brother kind of bullied me a lot. Like we would get along and we'd go off and play together. But I realized this as an adult looking back. If I did not agree with him, if I wasn't agreeable, he would turn on me. He would either run me down with words, like, telling me all these negative things about myself. And being the younger sibling that looks up to the older sibling, I believed these things. Like I thought these negative things he was telling me was true. And then if it wasn't just running me down with words, he would actually get violent. Like he might throw something at me, push me, hit me, kick me, or, whatever, right? So as a child, that taught me that, if I wasn't being agreeable with my brother, then it would result in me getting hurt in some type of way, whether it's emotionally hurt or physically hurt. And so that can shape that people-pleasing mentality in order to feel safe. If I please everyone around me, make them happy, then I'm good, I'm safe. You see? So I can see how, that shaped me into being a people-pleaser. I also have the abandonment wound because my dad physically abandoned me, growing up without him because he was in another country. And that's physical abandonment, but also emotional abandonment. So abandonment wounds can also stem from parents that aren't emotionally there for you. So there's emotional abandonment. And my mother emotionally abandoned me as well. So I realized going through my childhood stuff, I had multiple abandonment wounds. So I had this fear of abandonment as well. And then, with the way my brother would just run me down with words, I had low self-esteem. And I also, like my mum, kind of turned a blind eye to his bullying behavior towards me. So instead of protecting me from it, she kind of turned a blind eye or made excuses. And then also, she was critical of me. So when you have parents that are critical, always criticizing you, then it makes you feel like, oh, you're not good enough. You've got to act a certain way or be a certain way in order to get their love, validation, and approval. And then you grow up and you take that same mentality out into the world where you're trying to be a certain way and pleasing everyone so they give you the love, validation, and approval. So when I looked back at my childhood, I could see how all of this shaped this people-pleasing mentality, and it was really just a way for me to survive and be safe. And then I had the realization, after having a spiritual awakening, that I was people-pleasing. I didn't have the awareness I was even doing that. It was like, I was doing it as a safety thing, but I didn't even understand why I was doing it or that's what I was doing. I thought that I was just being a good friend to people. I'm just being good. This is what you're supposed to do as a good friend. But what I was actually doing is I was constantly abandoning myself to please others. And when you constantly abandon yourself, it's also because of having that abandonment wound. So you may find that you have either a physical or emotional abandonment wound that's linked to people-pleasing mentality. So, it's like you're abandoning yourself to please everyone else, and because you don't want these people to feel abandoned like you felt. So after the realization, that's when I was like, oh, I'm actually not being a good friend. This isn't what being a good friend means. I'm just people-pleasing, and this is why, because I already kind of sensed that I was being taken advantage of or taken for granted and not appreciated. I was already sensing these things, and then once I realized I'm a people pleaser, I was like, oh, now it makes sense. Another thing I learned about people pleasing is it's a manipulative behavior. And you might think, how is it manipulative? It's because you're being nice and pleasing others, and there's an underlying reason for why you're doing it, because you want something back. That's the manipulation, right? Normally it's you want their love, validation, and approval back. And I had this friend who had the people-pleasing mentality, and he was constantly giving stuff to me, like all the time, just constantly give, to where it was like too much. And he didn't just do that to me as well, he was giving to other people as well, just constantly giving. And I could see he had the people-pleasing mentality as well. And I said to him one day about how it's manipulative behavior. Like, even if your intention is not to manipulate people, your intention is to get love, validation, and approval, that energy of manipulation is still there. And then people can, like the person you're pleasing, can feel that energy. They can feel that manipulative energy. And so I was explaining this to my friend, and he goes, oh, there was someone that he was giving lots of stuff to that actually turned around and said to him, I feel like you're manipulating me. And I was like, yep, that's right, because that's the energy that's behind it. So realizing that was also a game changer for me as well. I was just like, oh, okay, yeah. Because it's all an energy game. If you watch my videos, I talk a lot about like energy and vibration. So everything in life's an energy game. When you have the mentality and energy of this people pleaser, like I said, you just get used and taken advantage of and all that. But it's just because people sense this energy off you, and then they're like, oh, this person doesn't say no, so I'm just going to keep getting as much as I can out of them. And they just keep using you for that reason because you're just allowing them. So the next step is, well, what can we do? How can we stop this people-pleasing behavior? My first tip is to journal and reflect on why you do it. So I spent the time of like, going back to childhood and looking at, how did this people-pleasing mentality become part of my identity? As I just explained with some of my family stuff. And now I get along great with my family. Like I don't have grudges or resentment. I learned to let go and forgive, and we get along great now. But yeah, just look into your own childhood, do some journaling and reflect on it so that you can become aware, because awareness is the key. Awareness is 90% of transformation. So just by becoming aware, you've only got a little bit more work to do before you have this transformation. The second tip I have, and this is a huge one, this is like a real game changer, is to be your own source of love, validation, and approval. Start giving yourself those things instead of seeking it from other people. Because again, when you're seeking it from other people, people feel that off you, and they're not going to give it to you. They sense that manipulative energy. But when you start just giving that to yourself, you don't need it from other people, you're good. I give myself that love, validation, and approval. It's a far different energy, right? It's a lot more magnetic. So when you actually start giving yourself those things, your energy becomes more magnetic, that it actually draws people to you. Because they feel that, they feel that you're not looking for it from them, and you're good, you're giving it to yourself, and that's attractive. And then that goes into my third tip, is to set boundaries. As a people pleaser, we don't set boundaries. We don't have boundaries, right? And we've got to learn to set boundaries in order to protect ourselves and protect our energy, because we are not here to please everyone. We are here on our own journey. We've got our own things to be doing, our own lessons to be learning. We need to focus on ourselves and not everyone else. So in order to protect yourself and your energy, you've got to set these boundaries, right? And the way you set boundaries, or what makes it easy to set boundaries, is being your own source of love, validation, and approval. When you're not looking for it from other people, you don't need it from them anymore because you give it to yourself, then you don't have the problem with setting a boundary and saying, hey, I don't like you doing this, or whatever boundary it may be. Because you're giving yourself the love, validation, and approval, you're not looking for it from them. That's what makes it easy to set these boundaries with these people. If they don't like your boundaries, oh well, you don't care because you're giving yourself the love, validation, and approval. So this is really powerful, right? And then also with setting boundaries, it's learning to be comfortable with tension. Because as the people pleaser, we don't like tension or conflict, and we try to avoid it by pleasing others. We've got to learn to get comfortable with tension, realize tension is good. Avoiding tension and conflict is not good. So learn to get comfortable with tension and set those boundaries, and don't feel guilty for setting boundaries. You have every right to protect yourself. My fourth tip is embody worthiness. What I mean by that is, this is going to talk a little bit about Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, which he talks about how the body is in control, not the mind. The body runs on an emotional program, and a lot of us, especially people pleasers, lack self-worth. So in order to start embodying worthiness, it's about getting in the body and feeling it in the body. Feeling worthy in the body. I would actually recommend you do this in meditation. You go into a meditative state, get the brainwaves to drop, and then just get in your body. You can get in your body by just connecting to your heart, do some deep breathing, get in the body and just start feeling worthy in the body. and be consistent. Do it every day, because what you are doing is you're reconditioning the body, because your body memorizes emotions. Your body can memorize unworthiness. I know my body memorized unworthiness because I was someone that lacked self-worth, and I've had to start incorporating Dr. Joe's work into conditioning the body with these new emotions. So it's just every day, go on meditation, feel worthy in the body through practice and repetition. Be consistent, doing it every day. Over time, it's going to become a new emotion that's going to be natural to you. You will naturally just feel worthy if you commit to that practice. And when you naturally feel worthy, again, it's easier to set boundaries with other people because you don't need anything from them. And my last tip is to learn to let go of the fear of abandonment. I had, the fear of abandonment as well, and that was something I worked on and let go of to help shed the people-pleasing mentality. And the way I did that was I just learned to enjoy my own company and just not need people or need to rely on people, and just being good in my own company, really. And I just, overcame that fear. So I hope those tips are helpful. I would highly recommend applying them because it will really shift you to a better version of you, because it's going to completely shift your energy. If you shed this people-pleasing mentality and shift into a new identity of someone that no longer people-pleases, it's going to change things in your reality. It's going to change the way people treat you. People will start treating you with more respect. If you're embodying that love, validation, and approval, people will be more drawn to you. They're going to find you more magnetic and interesting. But at the same time, you've got to remember to have those boundaries just to protect yourself as well. But if you apply this work, it will really change your life. And it will improve your relationships as well. So if you got value out of this video, let me know by hitting the like button or write a comment. If you like this sort of content, hit the subscribe and the bell notification. Have an awesome day. Hope I see you on the next video. Peace.